The city's that way and the ocean's that way. Okay, so everything kind of depends on the water. Okay, so everybody likes this area. Just give you a quick little orientation as to where you are. On the other side of the wall over there is the ocean. That's the Atlantic Ocean, right? Right in front of us is the Charleston Harbor. You started on the Cooper River on the eastern side of the city. To the western side of the city is the Ashley River. Okay, fields all around us, all the farming fields. That's what made all the money. First of all, in the beginning, 3 major cash crops early on in Charleston's history: rice, indigo, and cotton. That's the big money makers. Natural resources. Did you see dolphins all the way down here? Yeah. Okay, good. The Atlantic bottlenose dolphins usually migrate up and down our eastern coast. Our dolphins live here all year round, right? So we have it's called a resident population. About 150 dolphins live here all year round. What's keeping our dolphins here all year round? The fish, right? The really good seafood we have in the restaurant, right? The same thing with the birds. Okay, the birds also like all the food around here as well. All right, so everybody has always liked this area. Everyone's always wanted some sort of control of this area. The Spanish came through here in the 1520s, the French in the 1560s. They lasted for a couple years at a time, and they went away. The English were the successful ones, right? 1670, April 1670. Here come the English off the Atlantic Ocean. They sail off the ocean, sail right through here. They sail up to Charleston Harbor. They sail up to the land that we now know as downtown Charleston, and they keep going. They don't like it. There's something wrong with that land, right? They keep going up the Ashley River, about 7 miles up the Ashley River. They established a town up there. It's called Albemarle Point back then, okay? Today it's called Charlestown Landing. It's a really cool state park. So I set up shop there. Okay, now, when you have a town, first thing on your mind, of course, is your safety, right? They were worried about the Spanish coming back. They're worried about the French coming back. They're also worried about all the warnings that they heard on the way over here. They were told to watch out for all those hostile natives, right? All the mean, ugly people that used to live here. They meet a group of natives. They call it the Kiowa Indians. They're very nice people. The Kiowa knew what the English wanted to do with the safety of their town. And they said, look, if you're going to make your little walled city, it's not going to work around the corner, right? You have to build something down over here on the peninsula. That way you can look out onto the ocean and up and down all the rivers, right? So in 1680, that's when the English moved a little settlement out of Albemarle Point into what is now downtown Charleston, okay? And it was called Charlestown back then, Charlestown, T-O-W-N-E, all right? So the town's growing up, so early 1700s, taking advantage of all the shipping, all the crops, anything like that. There's a new threat. What happens when you get all the money and all the goods here on the water in the 1700s? Who do you attract? Pirates, yeah. Charleston had a nasty pirate problem in the early to mid 1700s. Who's the most famous pirate you can think of? Blackbeard, right? Captain Edward Teach actually did some work out here. I guess he was that, right? He was employed in Charleston. Pirates kind of took care of themselves over the years. Now, there's lots of legends and stories and tall tales you're going to find around here. Legend has it that the pirates used to circulate fake maps of the Charleston Harbor, right? False charts of the harbor. Why would they do that? Shipwrecks, yeah. There's lots of shallow areas all around. You guys saw the sandbar over there, right? There's lots of shallow areas. I don't know if it was the pirates doing that, but people nowadays with their fancy charts on the boats, they still get themselves stuck in the sandbars, okay? But the pirates would definitely take advantage of all the shipwrecks, all right? Now, mid to late 1700s, like I said, we're a very, very wealthy town. We're so successful, we think we can kind of do this thing on our own. We're not happy with the British at this point. They're not doing a whole lot to keep us safe. They're also raising taxes on us, okay? So in March of 1776, South Carolina, we declare our independence from the British, okay? The British don't like that. They want to come down here and send us a message that they don't like that. So in June of 1776, they send 9 British warships. They're right over here on the other side of the fort. They're at that time, right? They're firing cannonballs at one of our forts. Now, they're not firing at Fort Sumter because we're not here yet. They're firing at Sullivan's Island at a place we used to call Fort Sullivan. We now call it Fort Moultrie, all right? So picture this, pretty easy task. June 1776, 9 British warships all shooting cannonballs at one little bitty fort, right? They should have been successful. They were not successful. Who knows why they were not successful? Anybody? Somebody? You know. Oh, you don't know. Say it. A tree stopped the British, right? Right? That's why there's a tree on our flag, right? So the fort was made out of rock and dirt. On the outside was lined with the logs of the palmetto tree, that soft spongy wood. Cannonballs are flying over there. They're either getting stuck, they're like stuck in the walls, right, wedged in the walls, or they're bouncing off and rolling away, right? Another legend has it, we actually took those very same British cannonballs out of the walls. We got them out of the ground. We cleaned them off, right? We put them in our cannons and sent them right back to the British. That pretty cool? Okay, that one did not happen. All right, that's okay. Now, they did get stuck in the walls, right? But it'd be a miracle if somebody else's cannonballs fit in your own cannons. That's just kind of how it works right now. All right. It bought us time. We loaded up all of our guns, fired back at the British, damaged all 9 of those ships, and sent them back out to England. So people always think of Charleston and they don't think of the Civil War. Right out here in those waters was the first decisive victory in the American Revolution over the British Royal Navy. All right. That's why there's a palmetto tree on our state flag, on people's hats and shirts and trucks, and anything you buy in the marketplace has a palmetto tree on it. All right. So the British go away. They come back though. 1780 to 1782, they occupy Charleston. 1783 is when they actually go away. 1783 is roughly when Charlestown becomes Charleston. Now we're done with the British. Okay, early 1800s, crazy wealthy town. Lots and lots of money around here, okay? We're making so much money, we start to argue about it. Right? What's the hot button issue here in the 1800s? What are we all arguing about here? The slavery issue, right? That's where we're making all the money on, right? Should we do it like this? Should we do it like that? Can't argue about that too much right now because guess who comes back in 1812?
The British.
The British, right? 1814, Chesapeake Bay, Washington, D.C. They sail right through the middle of the Chesapeake Bay, untouched, and they burn Washington, D.C. President Madison says, men, how did this happen? His men say, sir, we have guns and cannons on the shoreline, but we can't hit these guys in the middle of the bay. Madison says, fix it. Now we have holes in our defenses, right? Now Charleston was one of those holes. Okay, so this is why Fort Sumter is actually here. Back in the 1820s, this is all of water. 1.3 miles away over there, we have Sullivan's Island. 1.3 miles away over here is James Island. Okay. Fort Moultrie's over there, Fort Johnson's over here. You can take a ship off the Atlantic Ocean, sail right through here. You're out of range of the guns of Moultrie, you're out of range of the guns of Johnson. So right through the middle of the Charleston Harbor. All you have to mess with now is Castle Pinckney. That's that little fort that you passed on the way over here. Castle Pinckney, unfortunately, is too close to the city. You can either aim left, right, or up, shoot over that fort, you can hit the city. In 1829, we start dumping about 80,000 tons of rock and granite blocks on this very spot. We start to create a man-made island, and for the next 30 years, we're actually building Fort Sumter. Okay, we're still arguing about the whole slavery issue. 1860, that's when everything kind of blows up, right? Abraham Lincoln is elected in 1860, right? The South did not vote for Abraham Lincoln because he wasn't on the ballot to vote for. Right? He's elected president. He does not want to end slavery necessarily. He wants to stop the spread of slavery off to the West. That's great, but it's going to put a major dent on the economics here. South Carolina, they don't like that one, so once again, they say we're out, right? On December the 20th, 1860, South Carolina becomes the first state to secede. At that time, the United States Army is still here in town. They're on Sullivan's Island. It's Major Robert Anderson and his men. He starts to fear for his safety. No, in the beginning, it's the United States Army versus the South Carolina state troops, so it's not the Confederacy yet, all right? Anderson starts to fear for his safety. The South Carolina troops are now taking over all the forts and batteries all around town. He sneaks his men out of Moultrie one night and into the big house here. Okay, now this doesn't look very tall right now. Picture two stories of these brick arches going all the way around the building. On the inside was a 3-story building. If you can see the red stripe on the flagpole, that's how tall Fort Sumter used to be. It's all tall structure. All right? On the morning of December the 27th, 1860, he raises a giant American flag. That is our garrison flag up there. That flag is a 15 by 25 foot flag. Anderson's flag was 5 feet taller and 11 feet longer.
Wow.
Big flag. Okay? Charleston sees it from a distance and they say, no, sir, that's not how this works, right? They say, this is not the United States, this is South Carolina, we're on our own. You and your men, sir, inside this fort, please leave. And that's it. So the whole thing starts. Please leave. For 4 months, we're asking his man very nicely if he can leave the fort, and he's not leaving. Okay. 2 months into it, February 1861. Now it's the Confederate States of America versus the United States of America. And everybody knows each other, right? All the Confederate officers know all the Union officers. They all went to school together. They all trained together. They all served together. Major Robert Anderson used to be General Beauregard's teacher up at West Point. They're really good friends. They start writing letters back and forth. Beauregard starts the first letter. He says, sir, you're in our fort. You're going to have to leave. Please get your flags, get your men, get your guns, get in your boats, and get out of town. He even says in his first letter, if you don't have enough boats, let us know what you need. We'll meet you with our boats right over here. You can have those boats to get on back up the coast. All right? Anderson's response, sir, I read your letter. I'm going to have to respectfully decline your request. My orders are to stay here. All right? It goes back and forth like that. Beauregard realizes that these guys are still getting groceries from the city. That's nice. All right? So he cuts off all the groceries. Boom. All right? Anderson writes a letter one day. Sir, I'm going to be out of supplies in about 2 weeks. What do I do? Beauregard says, excellent, sir. At the end of those 2 weeks, you're going to have to leave. Okay. Now, here's why everything happens on April the 12th. There's some supply ships coming in. They're scheduled to be here on April the 12th or April the 15th. All right? President Jefferson Davis of the Confederacy sends a word out to Beauregard. He says, if that man is still here on the morning of April the 12th, your orders are to fire on the Sumter. All right? So Beauregard sends a letter. Sir, if I still see your flag here on the morning of April the 12th, my orders are to fire on the Sumter. Anderson's last response to his old friend, he says, sir, that's very unfortunate. However, you have your orders. All right, here come the boats. April the 12th, 1861, 4:30 in the morning. Flag is still here. Here come the boats. One shot flies out of Fort Johnson right over here. It's a signal shot. It explodes over the fort. That's the sign that lets all the other forts and batteries know you can now start your systematic firing on the Fort Sumter. It's a counterclockwise move. It's very organized. Right? That's the first shot to the Civil War. Right? It was not 34 hours of chaos or mayhem, firing back and forth. Right? It was 34 hours after the single shot was fired over here. That's when Anderson here calls it quits. He has 85 soldiers in this fort. It's designed to hold 650 people. He has guns and cannons just like those right over there. They're not quite set up yet. They're starving. They're low on supplies. They're exhausted. They're very, very tired. Ooh, there's a fire, a hot shot. A hot shot is a heated cannonball that you heat up in a furnace red hot. A hot shot flies on a Moultrie, comes over here, hits the officers' quarters, which would have been right over there. it sets the officers' quarters on fire. So if we were here in the grass, we would be stuck inside of a 3-story fire. There's no place to go, okay? There were reports of people hanging their heads out the cannon ports just to breathe. You gotta fight to breathe, fight the sea, fight the fire, fight the soldiers. To make matters worse, the fire is getting really close to a powder magazine right around the corner. Now you're in trouble, all right? So these guys have to shift their focus. They work really, really hard, and they seal their powder magazine. That's the good news. Now they're safe. The bad news is, you seal the powder magazine. There you go, right? Now you're done. Okay, that's when Anderson says, that's it. Now, after all of that, 34 hours of battle, nobody died. On either side, nobody died. That's not a legend, that's the actual truth. You may have heard the legend or the story that the horse died on Solomon's Island, right? That is true, sorry. Yeah, so a horse did, I'm not 100% on how the horse died, but the horse died. Okay, Anderson's gonna lead the fort. He asked General Beauregard, can I have a 100-gun salute to the American flag as we lower it down? Beauregard says, absolutely. All right, down comes the flag, off go the guns. 100 shots is a lot of shots. They never make it to 100. They stop at 50. On shot number 47, there's some sort of an accident, there's an explosion. We're thinking that a piece of brick or piece of metal flies up, it hits the gunner in the head and kills that man instantly, right? Private Daniel Howe. The only Union death and the first death in the American Civil War, here at Fort Sumter, was a total accident, right? Total accident. Okay, now the fort itself. 2 stories on the outside, 3 stories on the inside. It's a 5-sided building. It's facing off in the channel. There's the city, there's the ocean. The whole purpose of this structure, we're all supposed to work as a team. Moultrie, Sumter, and Johnson were the safety net, was to keep those enemy ships on the ocean. That never happened. We never worked together because we couldn't stop arguing with each other, and we started beating each other up. The reason why we built Fort Sumter right here is because this area was out of range of the cannons back in the 1820s. By the 1860s, cannons like those have a range of 1.5 miles, and now you're in range, okay? By 1863 on, cannons have a range of 3.5 to 4.5 miles, and now you're in trouble. So when the Confederates held Fort Sumter for those four years, and the Union was bombing them, that's when most of the damage occurred. The big black structure right there in the middle of the fort, that's called Battery Isaac-Huge, built in 1898. That's an update to our coastal defenses. That one housed 2 main guns, one right here with the circular section, one over there where the museum sits now. Those 2 cannons faced out to sea. Those are the 12-inch, 1,000-pound round cannons. In the year 1900, it had a range of 8 miles. A long way, right? From the flagpole to the USS Yorktown, where you started from, 4.2 miles. That's a long range, right? Okay, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Walk around, read the signs. Don't miss the museum. On our flagpole right now is the 50-star American flag. In our museum is a 33-star American flag, and that is the real deal. That is the actual flag that was flying here when the Civil War started. All right? So don't miss that one.